Today we are going to learn about the angle vocabulary from Unit 3. So in Unit 3, when we first start this unit, we are given this type of diagram over and over and over again on a paper, and we are looking at this diagram. Now, when we do it, we are showing a version that has some color coding to it. Specifically, there is one red line, and then there are two blue kind of highlighted lines. And that is important simply because the red line, it crosses through the two blue lines. That is referred to as the transversal. Now, all it means to be a transversal is a line that intersects two or more lines. So it's possible that there are multiple transversals in a diagram, but we're going to look at this first type of diagram where we just have that one transversal. So then the vocabulary that we learned that goes along with this, first we learned about the idea of being exterior versus interior. So exterior would be a pair of angles that are both outside the blue lines. So for example, this angle is outside of the blue line, so this angle and that angle are both exterior, an exterior pair. This angle and this angle are an exterior pair. This angle and that angle, this angle and this angle, and finally this angle and this angle. There are 6 total possibilities of exterior pairs. Conversely, interior is a pair of angles that are both between the blue lines. So these blue lines aren't always highlighted blue. However, they aren't the transversal. They only cross one other line. So that's why I call them the blue lines or the non-transversal lines. So interior angles would be between these blue lines. So for example, this and that could be an interior angle pair. This and this and that, this one and that one, and finally this one and that other one. So there are 6 interior angle pairs as well. So that's all fine and good, except for the fact that now, all of a sudden, we have all of these different diagrams. Let's use a new color. They could be labeled exterior. So let me draw those out really quickly for you. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, for example, we could have this and this are exterior. This and this, this and this, this and this, this and this, and that and that. Those are all exterior pairs. So from here we need to add in some more information because those exterior pairs don't all look the same. So we need to get a little more descriptive. So the first one, the first grouping, the ones that are right here, we already know what these pair of angles is called, and that's because of the line that they form right here. There are 2 angles that are next to each other that form a straight line, or a line in that case, so these are a linear pair, which is a vocab word that we learned about back in Unit 1. These are a linear pair. So then we have 2 other cases to consider. The first case would be these 2 right here, and the other case would be these 2 down below. Now, the difference here is they are both exterior. There is one angle at each intersection, but if you notice in the third case circled in orange, those 2 purple dots are on the same side of the transversal versus the one highlighted or circled in pink. Those 2 angles are on opposite sides of the transversal here, because if you remember, these are our blue lines right there and there, which means the other one that is not highlighted is the transversal. So how do we distinguish them? Well, we talk about the fact that they're on the same side of the transversal or the opposite side of the transversal. So these are specifically called same side exterior angles. And these are specifically, we wish that we could call it opposite exterior. We don't use the word opposite. Instead, we use the word alternate meaning they're on alternating sides or alternate sides. So this is alternate exterior angles. So those are more specific vocabulary to talk about those angle pairs. Same can be true said using the words alternate and same side for talking about our interior angles. So to give you a quick diagram of those two interior angles, we can have same side interior angles, and those would look like this. Same side, but in between the blue lines would be right there and right there. Or we can have alternate interior, and those would look like this. Opposite sides of the transversal, but still inside of those blue lines, because again, remember, those two lines that I'm drawing horizontally are my blue lines. Now, they don't always have to be horizontal, but in the diagram that we were using on that first day of class, they were. So those all exist. Then the one last challenge that we also threw in there, our challenge here was, well, what about this situation? What if I drew angles that looked like this? And I'm talking about that one and that one. How might I describe that? Well, they're on the same side of the transversal. One angle is interior and the other angle is exterior, and they're at different intersections. That's wordy, that is a mouthful. We wish that there was a better way to say it, and in fact, there is. So rather than saying they are same side, one exterior, one interior, on two different intersections, instead of saying all of this, the vocab word that we can use, the vocab word for our geometry class is corresponding. So these are a corresponding pair of angles, corresponding. And that is all of the vocabulary that we have learned about thus far in our Unit 3.